Welcome back. Let's go ahead and discuss the 2-4 notes today. Writing equations of lines notes. So there are two primary forms you can write a linear equation in: slope-intercept form or point-slope form. But first you have to understand the slope formula, because that's going to be very, very important. The slope formula, which we call m, equals the rise over the 1, aka the change in y over the change in x, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here we have the slope-intercept form. And the slope-intercept form, that is basically the equation of the line, where m represents the slope and b represent what we call the y-intercept. Okay? So if you have the slope and you have the y-intercept, you can basically plug that in to write your equation of the line y equals mx plus b. Okay? And we can also use algebra to turn the point slope form, which we'll get into this particular form here. Okay, so this is good when you have a slope and a y-intercept. Here for the point slope form, the m represents the slope and x1 comma y1 represents a point on the line, and you must know a slope and a point on the line to write in this form. Okay, very, very important. You have to have a point and a slope, and you can see that in the name here. And also for this one, the slope-intercept form, again, you need a slope and an intercept, and it's also in the name there too. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. We have a graph. It says write the equation of the graph line in slope-intercept form, which says I need to write this in y equals mx plus b. Again, m represents the slope and b represents the intercept. So let's start with the intercept first. And remember, the intercept, or y-intercept to be exact, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, and it's usually in the form 0, y. Okay, so if I look at this, where does the line touch the y-axis, right? And this is the y-axis, so this is the y-axis, yes? And here's my line, and it touches the y-axis at this particular point. So what is this particular point? It's 0, 2. Okay? And then I need to figure out the slope. There are two ways that you can do this. You can rise over run, or you can use the slope formula to figure that out. So I'm going to rise over run. So I'm going to go down 2, and it looks like I'm going right 5. So my slope, right over here, my slope is m equals -2 over 5, and my y-intercept is 0, 2, or just 2. So if I put that all together, I get y equals -2 over 5 x plus 2. Okay? So there you have it. Alright, the next one, I'm going to go ahead and look at this. I know this is a positive slope, so you should have a plus sign or just nothing there. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, up 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 4. So that's my slope, m equals 3 over 4. And then here's my y-axis, right? Where does the line touch the y-axis? At this particular point. So that's 0, 3. So b is 0, 3. So y equals 3 over 4x plus 3. Okay? So remember, I just want to make sure we're all clear. The b will always be that. Okay? So you can always decide how to start writing the equation of a line based on the information you're given: a slope and y-intercept, slope and point, or 2 points, the name of the form, or the formula tells you the information you need to know to write that form. Okay, and we already talked about that. So here, let's go ahead and discuss writing equations of a line given different information. Use the given information to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. So I have slope, and I have my b, that's the y-intercept. Okay, so y equals mx plus b, y equals -3x, and then since this is plus, right, I gotta drop the plus sign, then I put my -6. Now I can't leave my answer like this because it's not simplified. Notice I have a plus sign here, and a minus sign here, and that's basically multiplication, right? That plus times a negative, that's going to become a negative, or a subtraction sign to be exact. So rewrite that, y equals negative 3x minus 6, and this is your answer, okay? And then what I want to go ahead and do is take a look at this one. I have, okay, so this right here is my slope, and notice that this here is my point. Sorry, I'm gonna rewrite that. I was meant to say y-intercepts, but I want to put point. So look at this, I have a point and a slope, and if we go back over here, y'all, this is the equation that I'm going to use and then convert that into what? Slope-intercept form, right? So I need to use this the point slope form, which again is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1, okay? So, okay, well, let me go ahead and, because I didn't discuss this at the beginning, let me go ahead and tell you what you need to do. You will never ever touch this or this at all. You will not touch those variables. You will never replace those variables whatsoever. The only thing that you can replace are the y1 and the x1. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You see this point here? This is y1 and this is x1. You can only replace the y1 and the x1, and you will leave these two things alone. Without the ones with this, without the subnotation, the ones without the subnotation, you will leave alone. So the one in red you will replace, and you can replace the slope too, because that's fine. Just don't touch these whatsoever, okay? So let's plug it in. So here is x1, y1, and I'm gonna go ahead and start plugging in. So y minus, okay, so I have that negative 4 is equal to my slope, which is 1/2 times the quantity x minus, oh, I screwed up. That should be 3 here. It's y minus y1, so this is y1, that should be 3, and then this should be negative 4, right? So x minus negative 4, there you go. And so that's y minus 3 equals, okay, I have 1/2 times x plus 4, and then what do I do here? Well, I notice that I have this fraction, or this number in front of the parentheses, and what I have to do is I have to use the distributive property. So that's going to be y minus 3 equals 1 times x, and then plus 1 times 4. 1 half times 4. And basically what this is saying is, what is a half of 4? And the half of 4 is just 2, okay? And now I need to solve for y, because that's going to get me to my y equals mx plus b. So that's y equals 1/2 x plus 5. And that's my answer. Okay. Nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So if I have these 2 points, okay, well, I have these 2 points, that's awesome. Guess what I'm going to go ahead and do? If I see those 2 points there, that means I'm going to use the slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So M equals 8 minus negative 6 over negative 3 minus 4. That negative times a negative is a positive, so that's going to be 8 plus 6 over negative 3 minus 4. So then that's 14 over negative 7, hence negative 2, okay? And then this is what I need to do. I have my slope, and I have these 2 points. But still, I have a slope and a point, right? So that means I can use point slope form, y minus y1 equals m quantity x minus x1, and then start replacing, solve for y, and then I should get y equals mx plus b. Okay, so once again, you can only replace the y1, the m, and the x1, and you should leave these alone. So let's go ahead and start plugging things in. So I have y minus -6 equals, my slope is -2, the one that we found, x minus 4. Okay, and then let me go ahead, I'm going to move stuff up. Actually, let's get rid of this. We already found the slope, right? So that's -2 over there. And I just want to move stuff up. So then this is y plus 6 equals, okay, -2 times x minus 4. And I see a number. That -2 is in front of the parentheses, so that means I'm going to have to use the distributive property there. So y plus 6 is equal to -2x plus 8 minus the 6 on both sides. So y equals -2x plus 2. That's your answer. Okay? See? Like I said, if you have something like this, you have 2 points here. That means, okay, I'm going to have to use the slope formula. And once I found my slope, you have your slope, which we had over here, and then you can pick any point. Doesn't matter which one you choose, you'll still get the same answer. If you choose this, then this is the work that we will have to show. But if you choose this, well, you're going to have a different work, but nonetheless, you're still going to get this equation, okay? It does not make any difference if you choose one or the other, okay? All right, number 4, x-intercept of 5 and y-intercept of 3. That's really awesome because we got to know what an x-intercept is. And the x-intercept is essentially where the line crosses in the x-axis. So you see my line here? Let me use a different color. So here is my x and y axes. And then this is my line. And notice, if we zoom in, this is where the line crosses the x-axis, and it's always in the form x comma 0, okay? So with the y-intercept, we already talked about that. That's in the form 0 comma y, right? This is in the form 0 comma y. So if the x-intercept of if we're talking about the x-intercept of 5, that's basically 5 comma 0, and we're talking about the y-intercept of 3, that's essentially 0 comma 3, okay? So then I have these 2 points here, so that means, okay, well, I'm going to use that slope formula, so m equals, what, 3 minus 0 over 0 minus 5, that's 3 over -5, or -3 over 5, okay? And that's my slope, okay? Remember, this is my slope. So that means I get to pick a point, and usually I like to use this because that is my y-intercept. This is essentially b, right? We've already talked about b is the same thing as the y-intercept, and that's going to be helpful because I'm just going to y equals mx plus b this. So y equals what? -3 over 5x plus your b, which we already know. That's +3. And this is my answer. No further work needs to be shown here. Now, okay, this is all I had to do. All right, now what I want to go ahead and do is, let's see, you can write the equation of parallel and perpendicular lines in a similar way as previous examples. You just need to remember how slope relates to parallel and perpendicular lines, okay? With parallel lines, they do not cross whatsoever, and they always have the same slope. With perpendicular lines, they intersect at a 90-degree angle, and perpendicular lines, well, opposite sign, flip the fraction, okay? Remember that? I told you, opposite sign, flip fraction. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. It says passes through. Well, let me go. Okay, write the equation of the line using the given information. So here there is a line. So there is a line that passes through the point 4 comma -5 and parallel to another line in the form y equals 1/2 x plus 5. Okay, so this is that first line, and this is the second line. I don't know if that's actually, I mean, this is basically the idea of what I have here. So if we know that, okay, this line is parallel to this line, that means that this has the same slope as this. So this right here is this. okay? That's y equals 1/2 x plus 5, let's say, okay? Even though I'm not perfect, I just want to have like an idea in my head on what to do. Because again, the slope of this line should be the same as this line. If they're parallel and this is y equals 1/2 x plus 5, then the slope of that should be 1/2, right? That's y equals mx plus b. So 1/2 is the slope, so m equals 1/2. So the m parallel to that is also 1/2. This is what I'm going to be using. So if I have this slope here, then I have this point here. So then I can use that point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m quantity x minus x1. Y minus, okay, well, this is x1, y1. Negative 5 equals 1/2 times x minus 4. Y plus 5 equals 1/2. X minus 2, because what's a half of a negative 4? Well, that's just negative 2. Then I start subtracting here, so y equals 1/2 x minus 7. Okay? So, yeah. Hopefully you understand what the question is saying. Because again, you have a line, we'll call that line 1, that contains the point this, and is parallel to another line, which is in the form y equals 1/2 x plus 5. And, you know, since they have the same slopes, then you can use that to your advantage. Okay? Let's do this problem. Okay, we have passes through this point and perpendicular to this equation. So there is a line, we'll call that line 1, that passes through negative 4, 4, and is perpendicular to another line, hence we'll call line 2, and then we'll call that line 1 over there, okay, line 1. So then, what do I know? Well, here, if let's say, I don't know, if this here was y equals negative 4x minus 2, then that line 1 should be this negative 4, where this line 1 is the one that contains that negative 4, 4. So that means that they intersect at a 90-degree angle, and they have this, you know, opposite reciprocal slope. So opposite sign, flip the fraction. So if I go into, you know, y equals mx plus b, then this is my slope. So m is equal to negative 4, right? And now I got to figure out what's perpendicular. So I'm going to write m perpendicular. So here's that minus sign, or that negative sign. So this one should be a plus sign, right? And then how do I flip the fraction of 4? So it's the same thing, says, 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. So that's 1 over 4. Okay, and that's just new slope. So this is the slope I'm going to be working with. And this is the point that I'm going to be working with. So y minus, so this is x1, y1, 4 equals my slope times the quantity x minus negative 4. Y minus 4 equals 1/4 times x plus 4. Go ahead and distribute. Y minus 4 equals 1/4 x. Okay, and then a fourth. What is 1/4 of 4? Well, that should be 1, right? Positive 1. So then this will say, okay, I'm going to add both sides. So that's y equals 1/4 x plus 5. Okay, that's my answer. That's how I do it, okay? I know I'm going a little too fast. If I'm going a little too fast, I do recommend that you watch first and then write later, because that way that you're not multitasking whatsoever, and that you're able to understand the process or how I'm thinking through these problems too. Then go ahead and start, trying on your own or just copy. Okay, here we go. The next one, horizontal and vertical line equation. The equation of a horizontal line is y equals b, where b is the y-intercept of the line. Example, if we look to the right, what is the horizontal line? And the horizontal line should look like this, and then this is my vertical line. So the horizontal line here is this. What is the equation of that? So it's basically where it touches the y-intercept here. So it touches here at 0,3. Oh, sorry, not 0,3, 0,-3. So then this is what I'm going to use. That's going to be y equals -3. This is how you write that line. And how I really like to think about this is, if you have a horizontal line, where does it touch the y-axis at 0, -3. Use this, put it there, okay? And then the other one is the equation of a vertical line is x is equal to a, where a is the x-intercept of the line. So here's my vertical line, and this is the x-intercept. So then that should be at -2, 0. So then I will use the x and the x-intercept. So that's x equals -2, and that's the equation of this. Okay, the slope is indeed undefined, y'all. The slope is indeed undefined, but you don't write x equals undefined. Okay, the equation of this is x equals -2, and that's the same thing for this one right here. The slope of this is 0, yes, but you don't write y equals 0. You will write y equals -3. So really, if you have an undefined, you will always use x equals, and if you have a 0 slope, you will write y equals. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Write the equation of the line with the given information. You have a slope of 0 and through 4, 2. Okay, so this is how I like to do it. I have a slope and a point, so that means I'm going to use point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m quantity x minus x1. Actually, I don't think I want to do that right now. Let's go ahead and draw a picture then. Maybe that'd be better if we draw a picture. So if we draw a picture, and 4, 2 is like right here in the slope, that means it's rising 0 and running 0. It should look like this, right? So then, what is the equation of this? So if we're talking about the horizontal line here, where does it intersect the y-axis? Right here, right? So if this is 4, 2, then this has to be 0, 2. So like I said, if you have a horizontal line just like so, it should be in the form y equals something. So it's y equals 2. That's where I got my 2. Okay, so I really don't need to use this at all, but you can, and you'll still get this answer because you have a point and a slope. Okay, now this is what I want to go ahead and look at. And again, I'm just going to visualize this because I like to draw pictures. And since we're dealing with an undefined slope and it goes through the point -1, 5, it should be like right here. Well, this is -1, 5. And I notice that this undefined slope, this line here, intersects the x-intercept. Or has an x-intercept, right? So this has to be, what, -1, 0, right? So if I have an undefined slope, it should be in the form x equals something. So x equals -1.